This is Barry Corliss, Business Development Director here at Global Knowledge in the UK. And I'm going to talk to you today all about the Open Group Architecture Framework, or Togaf as it's more commonly known. I guess the first question we need to ask is, what's Togaf? And by the book, the definition, the Open Group Architecture Framework is a framework, a detailed method and a set of supporting tools for developing an enterprise architecture, which I guess kind of poses the question, what's an enterprise architecture? Well, again, by the book, is the organizing logic for business processes and IT infrastructure, reflecting the integration and standardization of requirements of the company's operating model. And the next question, what's an operating model? I think to put things into layman's terms, then we should think jigsaw puzzle. And in a jigsaw puzzle, the first thing you do is you don't just buy a sort of random jigsaw puzzle. You look at the picture on the box, and I draw a parallel between your organization's operating model, what you do, how you do it, when you do it, why you do it, who you do it for, is like the picture on the box of how your organization works. So with the picture on the box, then the enterprise architecture is the jigsaw puzzle of parts that make up that operating model. So it's your people, it's your governance, your processes, your policies, your technology, and so on and so forth. They're the pieces, the parts that make up your operating model. And finally, Togaf. Well, Togaf is, I see, as a method for doing the jigsaw. So kind of like starting the corners and with all of the straight edges. So just to recap then, your operating model is the picture, the enterprise architecture is the pieces of the jigsaw, and Togaf is how you put the jigsaw together. Now, from that perspective then, I guess the first thing we need to do is look at where Togaf actually sits and where enterprise architecture sits within your organization. Most organizations subscribe to a model where directives come down from their leaders, from their board. Those directives normally to do with making your organization more effective, more efficient, continuing to deliver what the customer wants, staying legal, for example, as other things that might come down as directives. You then change your organization, perhaps through projects and so on, to fulfill the directives that are coming down from strategic areas within the business. And then finally, you actually operate that model. So with most organizations subscribing to something that looks very much like direct, change, operate, there are a number of best practice areas that help us to do this. And we start with governance, the rules, the policies that are driven down from the strategic area of the organization. And you'll have people concentrating in that area. Turning those policies and those needs of your organization into the technology and so on that supports it, and the processes that support it, relies very much on enterprise architecture, the subject of this particular presentation, and things like business analysis as well. We then have projects and programs which are transforming the organization, taking the directives, changing the organization, and moving them smoothly into the operation area. Areas like service management, taking the directives, making sure that you can actually operate the services, the products, and the areas that surround those products in your live operation. You're also going to likely be focusing on the quality of all of that through there, and also ongoing management of the risk to your organization. So there's a whole host of areas covering lots of different functional groups within your organization there. And what we're looking at in particular here is enterprise architecture sat there just above the direct change operate. So how do we do it? What are the tools that we use? Well, looking at that same direct change operate model, you have areas like governance, and quite often covered by frameworks like COBIT. Your governance might be covered by ISO standards in your organisation, the rules that you're working to. Togaf, there it is, sat proudly covering the enterprise architecture area of your organisation, and you may well be integrating that with business analysis, perhaps through IIBA, perhaps through the UK's Chartered Institute's business analysis methodology and approach. Projects covered by waterfall methodologies like PRINCE, PMI, programs covered by MSP, or you might even be into more agile methodologies now to allow you to deliver your programs and projects. So we're starting to get something here of a methodology and a framework overload. So let's add one or two more in. Service management, quite often covered by ITIL. Your quality and your improvement with Lean Six Sigma coming into the equation, and management of risk in the looking after the risk area within your organisation. I think one of the things you can see there is that all of those particular frameworks and methodologies that may well be in use in some way, shape or form in your organisation almost certainly need to be integrated. So given that we need all of that integration, then what's Togaf's role in all of that, and what's its scope? Well, Togaf Scope covers 4 basic areas of architecture. And we start at the top with the business architecture. And what this means is the covering of the ways of analysing and defining the business strategy, the governance, the organisation and the vital business processes, how they all mesh to deliver the objectives and goals of your organisation. Without the business architecture, then data, application and technology are effectively shooting in the dark. The data architecture, we talk more and more now about big data and organisations wanting to make better quality decisions. Then access to the right data is hugely important. So Togaf will cover the structure both of your organisation's logical and physical data sets, and that coverage extends out into the resources and the tools that you use to manage that data. We then look at your application architecture, how your applications are deployed, where they're deployed, how they interact with each other, their relationships to your core business processes. And amongst other things, the application architecture is going to help you to maintain things like data integrity. You think about the number of ways that organisations and customers can interface with your particular organisation and your tools and your services, then it might well be that even through websites, then you've got mobile websites running on iOS, running on Android, all sorts of different normal websites maybe running through, again through Apple Macs, running through Microsoft Windows, running through any number of different browsers, then maintaining the data integrity between all of those different applications is a huge responsibility and a very important one if you're going to support your vital business processes through technology. And then finally, we turn to the technology architecture, the logical software and hardware capabilities that are required to support the business, the data and the application services that sit above there. So as you can see, Togaf Scope really is an end-to-end scope from the technology right the way down at the nuts and bolts end of what you're doing in your organisation, right the way through to supporting your business strategy up at the other end of the business architecture area of Togaf. So Togaf's got a huge scope, and I guess one of the things that we might ask now, or you might ask us, is why bother with Togaf, but why bother with Togaf the GK way? Well, one of the things about any certification, whether it's Windows, whether it's ITIL, whether it's COBIT, whether it's project management, whether it's enterprise architecture, then certification in a particular area doesn't guarantee you any sort of enterprise architecture implementation or any sort of implementation when you go back. Just because you've got an ITIL or a Prince qualification isn't going to make you a great service manager and guarantee instant results or instant project results the minute you go back. The same is absolutely true as Togaf certification. And one of the things we've done at GK is go beyond Togaf with one of our events and courses, and it's more about the what and the how of Togaf. So we've taught you the what in the certification course, and beyond Togaf teaches you the how to implement, how to get the best from your enterprise architecture. Second reason is the integration of best practices. You'll have seen before a whole host of different best practices: ITIL, Prince, COBIT, Togaf, business analysis, agile. And one of the things that one of our unique aspects of what Global Knowledge do is that we've got the ability to integrate all of those courses. Just because you're an enterprise architect doesn't mean that you need to be turned off by what's happening in business analysis or service management or project management. If you're a project manager, you need to know something about your organization's service management and enterprise analysis and business analysis to make you better in those particular areas. So the integration with other best practices is certainly, and the crossover is certainly something that we're doing a lot at Global Knowledge, helping organizations with, and we're doing that under the banner of Global Knowledge, helping them to deliver total solutions. You don't have to go and try and integrate 3 or 4 different organization solutions. We're going to help with all of that. And the final way is almost a subset of the previous point. One of the things that Togaf has got is 1 or 2 perceived weaknesses and areas of governance and knowledge management. They're the areas that we focus on when we go beyond Togaf. So what you're getting again is a total picture of enterprise architecture, not just about getting a certificate, the Togaf Part 1 and the Togaf Part 2. Having mentioned the Togaf certification, of course that's one of the areas that is still important to individuals, getting that badge to be able to say that you are Togaf certified. We run our course code there, TCC, is a combination of Togaf Level 1 and Level 2 courses and gets you the certification courses in 4 days. We also run the Doing Enterprise Architecture Successfully, a course that can be tailored and take you beyond Togaf. So particularly if you're looking, having done your certification, where do we go next? Or you've got an organization where you've got a number of people who are already Togaf certified and you want that injection to take you to the next level, then certainly the Doing Enterprise Architecture Successfully course is the one that can help you there. And one of the things as part of your reward for listening to me for around the last 15 minutes is if you quote Togaf 123, then you get a special introductory offer onto one of our public scheduled events for yourself or for one of your colleagues. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so via our website or just by simply emailing info@globalknowledge.co.uk. And with that, I'll leave you and hope that we see you soon on one of our enterprise architecture Togaf courses. This has been Barry Corliss talking about Togaf for Global Knowledge UK.